Hey guys, I'm Angela, and this week the Black Templar are ready to crusade. We've got a little bit of news from the old world, and Warhammer Underworlds has a new format called Rivals that I'm pretty hyped about. Plus, the Army Painter has an exceptionally cool sounding paint line coming out that I'm very, very excited for. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get into this week's hobby news. Let's start by talking about the Black Templar, because as I said, they are ready to crusade, and of all of the rules that they have previewed for us so far, they being Games Workshop, the crusade rules are actually the ones that have me the most interested, because if you guys don't know this already, if you haven't been watching the channel for very long, I really like narrative-driven games, and the narrative play that Crusade offers really fits that boat, even though I've not actually played Crusade for my own armies, but I really like the ideas of them and I really like the rules. And for the Black Templar, almost like Black Crusaders, but for the Black Templar, it actually thematically fits really well. So what do you get as a Black Templar if you're playing in a narrative game? Well, you can custom craft your own Oaths of Crusade, which sounds really cool. There's a variety of options that you get to choose from, and you get to choose 4 segments of this oath. So there's the deed, the foe, the condition, and the situation. You can choose up to 4 of those, and then from there you can complete those goals, because each segment has a goal associated with it and an award. Now, some of these can just be, say, experience for your boys so that they can, level up and everything. But if you want to go on the Eternal Crusade, as any true Black Templar player might, you're probably going to want to go for all of the relics that you can get, which are all very cool, and they've also previewed and they're looking awesome. But really, the thing that I find just the most interesting about this particular rule set is just how thematically on point it is. Now, Games Workshop has been doing a pretty good job overall, I would say, of allowing all of the narrative rules for the armies to be pretty thematic. That's kind of the point, right? But for the Black Templar, because they are literally crusaders, it works so well together. And if I were to do a crusade game and run Space Marines, I honestly think I would run the Hobby Knights as Black Templar, just because I want to go through this oath thing and actually pick out my segments, choose what I want to do, serve the Emperor in all of his glory, and allow my boys to shine freely and collect all of their relics and do exactly what the Black Templar are supposed to.
Warhammer Underworlds is a fast-paced skirmish game that pits 2 mighty warbands against one another in a battle for glory. And it's never been easier to get started thanks to the new Rivals format. Here's why Rivals is so amazing. This format doesn't require deck building. Just pick your favourite warband and you're ready to play thanks to a pre-built deck of cards. The playing field has been levelled. Whether you're up against the best player in the world or a first-timer, you both have the right toolkit to win the game. Victory will come from your cunning use of tactics and not from access to a larger catalogue of cards. It's the easiest way to start. Thanks to the new Rivals format, It's never been easier to jump into the game. So what are you waiting for? Get down to your local store and begin your adventures in Warhammer Underworlds.
Next up, we're moving into the realm of Age of Sigmar with Warhammer Underworlds, because along with the Harrowdeep new set that's coming out, there's also going to be a new format for the game that I think is a really nice addition to the gameplay. So it is called Rivals, and what this is designed to be is sort of an introductory version of the game that allows players to just jump right in and not have to collect a bunch of different cards to build up their deck, because it essentially eliminates the deck building option, which does make me a little bit sad because I do really like deck building options in games. However, I do understand that much like in the same way that Magic sometimes can run into this problem, if you can't afford to buy all the cards to maximize your deck and you're going to, say, play at your local store, but you run into a bunch of people that have, that can be kind of unforgiving when you're playing the game, because they'll just womp you because you've got, you just don't have as good of cards, your deck isn't synergized as well. Well, the Rivals format is eliminating that. You're only allowed to use some pre-built decks that you can get, some of which they have had out since the Dire Chasm lines. It's part of their, I believe they called them their universal decks. So you can either pick up one of those, or you can select warband specific cards for whatever warband you're wanting to run, which are the cards that come specifically in the kits that you would buy for this game and everything. And then you can just run those, not really building anything into the deck or adding anything new, and it's a bit more balanced, it's a bit more friendly, it allows people to be on an even playing field, which I actually think is really valuable when wanting to get people into a new game. Now, the Champions format is still around, so if you're into the big deck building portion and you've got all the cards already and you're like, well, I still want to maximize and build out my deck as best as I can, you still can. That format's still around and it'll be used for the tournaments, but this is a great way for new players to get into the game. And I might be trying it out myself this weekend because I believe my friendly local game store is having a Warhammer Underworlds tournament actually tomorrow, or actually today, I guess. It would be today technically, of when it was happening. So I might be at that trying out this rival format for myself because I have a couple of fully painted armies and I've been really wanting to get into the game. So if I do, I'll probably be posting about it on my Instagram. Make sure to check about it there. Moving from Age of Sigmar, we're now dipping our toes into the old world, which we have not talked about in a while because the last thing that we found out was, hey, they're rebooting the old world, but we have a bit more information now. And one of the pieces that they've announced is there's going to be a little bit of a focus on the Border Princes, which, for those of you that may not be familiar, this is a region in the old world where it's a lot of disgraced lords and nobles and such that end up in this region, both from the Empire as well as Bretonnia. The main thing I know about them is I kicked their butt tons when I was playing in my Total War Warhammer 2 campaign. Sorry, it's a little bit of a tongue twister. And I just remember kicking their butts a lot. But it's really cool to see them focused here because it offers a couple of different options, I think, that the designers are going to be able to play with. One, because it is a bunch of small kingdoms rather than one large kingdom like Bretonnia or the Empire are, it gives the designers flexibility to be able to play with rules and do a lot of different things and still have it thematically appropriately fit for the region because there's supposed to be a bunch of people from all over the place. Additionally, and more excitingly to me, this gives the designers of the models some fantastic opportunities to play because the Border Prince region is kind of arid and deserty. Like it gets a little bit dry and everything. So you might not necessarily expect to see a lot of like fur covered folk or, warmer weather options and everything, but you could still have that in this region because you could just claim that they came from a northern part of the old world, they've traveled down, and now that's where they're living. So there's going to be a lot of interesting, or at least I hope so, interesting designs coming out of the models because they'll be very eclectic and diverse, which could be very fun for just building like unique armies and everything, something like doing a bunch of like mixed groups and everything, kind of like how I imagine Age of Sigmar currently plays for all of the Empire's factions, like the Citizens of the Empire, because I know that they've kind of been mushed together with, I think, some of the Dark Elves, from my understanding, or something like that. It's very odd to me that like that grouping of citizens, but I imagine it's going to be that style of product. You're going to get a lot of diversity and you're going to be able to possibly customize things. Like that's my expectation. I really hope that's where they're going with it and they're not just going to straight copy the Empire or the Bretonians like too distinctly. I hope they are varied and unique and everything, but we'll find out when we get more information and hopefully when it launches in a couple of years. Oh, hey, didn't see you guys there. Well, while you're here, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the video. We've got a brand new paint line coming, you guys, and it's a competitor for contrast. Now, I know that there is the instance line out there, but that's a little bit harder to get a hold of because you can't really get it through your friendly local game store very easily. It's not sold through distribution. However, the Army Painter is. So when their Speedpaint line comes out, which they just announced over this past weekend, I'm going to be picking it up because like I said, it looks like a competitor to contrast. They're describing it as a way to paint your miniatures faster, and that it combines a highlight, a midtone, and a shade all in one, which is exactly what contrast does. Now, there are 23 colors coming in this set, so a lot less than I feel like was the initial launch with the Citadel contrast line. However, there are some colors that I don't think we've seen before, well, at least not from contrast. And in particular, there is a sort of pale lemony yellow color tone that I find very interesting and I don't remember seeing from Citadel. Like, they have a Yondan yellow and Nazdreg yellow, which Army Painter does look like they have an equivalent to, but they also have this much lighter sort of lemony yellow color. Additionally, it looks like there might be 2 whites, which is really, really striking to me because I, in particular, really like Apothecary White. I've been using it a lot recently, but Army Painter's looks like it has a little bit of a warm colored white tone in there, as well as a cool colored white tone. So if that is true, and that ends up being the case, I'm very excited for that. My assumption, now that I'm thinking about it a little bit more, is that maybe it's a flesh tone and it just happens to look sort of like a warm marble. But if it ends up working as a pale, light colored stone, I'm gonna be so excited. I have one major concern with this paint line though, and that is the fact that if you look on the 2 boxes that they showed in the preview of the video that will be coming out as sets of ways to get this, there's going to be a 10-pack set and then there's a 24 paint set, which I assume just means it has a medium in it. But if you look at those boxes, there is in fact a purple paint. But if you look at the painted up little owl bears, the purple that they show, or what I assume is supposed to be the purple, looks more like an indigo to me, and so I'm a little disappointed, especially since contrast also doesn't have more than 2 purples, and as it is my favorite color, I would like to see more of that color out there. I know it's a little bit difficult to make that actual pigment and have it be, truly that purpley color that you want, but come on, I'll take some red violets or something like that, or blue violets, or other various color tones that have a little bit of purple in them, but maybe aren't a true purple. I like variety. Give me more options. I don't like to have to mix paints. And so that's why I'm hoping that maybe down the line as it expands, we'll get some more purples. But for now, I'm looking forward to 2022 when this product line comes out. Army Painter, if you're watching this and you want to hit me up early for a demo copy so I can maybe review it, let me know. My email is in the description. But I will be definitely getting these no matter what, because I definitely want to compare them to contrast and actually see how they hold up, whether or not they're going to be a substitute, an addition, or something completely different that maybe I just don't use how they intend me to, but maybe I use them as shades or something. Regardless, it's very exciting to see a bunch of new paint lines showing up. Now, before we totally wrap up this news, I just wanted to say that, oh my gosh, we've almost hit 25K, if not having already hit it since me having recorded this episode. I am blown away by that. I swear just a few days ago, I was way lower and it just suddenly skyrocketed. So hello to all of you new subscribers. If we do hit 25K, we will absolutely be doing a separate vlog sort of celebrating, hooray, we did it. I'm really excited for this. The channel has been continuing to grow. It's been so cool, and I can't wait to do more, continuing covering news, continuing painting, continuing talking about board games, and just continuing to grow the channel and expanding what we're doing here. So if you've been enjoying it and you haven't already, subscribe, like this video, and of course, share it with your friends, leave a comment, tell me what you're most excited about that's coming up. I have been Angela. I wanted to thank my Patreons for supporting us and allowing us to make content like this, and I will see you guys next week for another Hobby Night episode where we'll be talking about some board games, and of course, we'll have some more news. Bye.